Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Divine Lux Soul Podcast. I'm Al, and I'm your guide on this journey today. And to be honest, I wasn't going to post anything, but I just recently saw that our illustrious U.S. government decided to change things up. Yes, it was about time, but it just wasn't, in my opinion, the right information to give people. And I just couldn't sit back and just let it ride without telling people or starting the conversation around what's really going on here. And this episode does continue on the health is real wealth, what's it called? Episodes, but we're going to go back to court. We went to spiritual court last year in the Halama'at with the Egyptians, but today we're putting two things on trial, and that is going to be the nomadic body and then also the industrial body. And it's going to be called the nomadic versus the industrial. And the reason why I decided to do that is because I wanted to remind people of what the technology really is. And I believe in the last episode about fasting, for those of you who are just new to this episode today, check out the fasting episode. This will make sense today, but I'll do my best to bridge it all together. But I just wanted to remind people what the technology is, what the hardware is. And it's not this industry that these governments are putting on us to tell us how to eat. So I'm here to remind everyone what the Creator gave us, what's really inside of our bodies, and then also how to, put it all out there and get the information out and let people decide for themselves how they want to go about eating. It's just not one way to do it, but I'm going to do the best I can to tell you guys or what I know about how this all went down in history. And like I said, guys, a lot of time it's not your fault. We're just unaware of certain eating patterns. We don't question it. We just do it because that's the way we were taught. But anyway, guys, that being without much introduction, let's just get into it. I think I talked enough about it. We're at 235, 236 already. So this is a spiritual podcast. We talked all last year about unlearning the habit of your spiritual self or of your spiritual practices of what you learn, and unlearning a lot of your emotional habits that you learn. A part of more unlearning your more of yourself is unlearning the habit of being your physical incarnation, and a part of that unlearning your physical incarnation of how you were taught to be is unlearning the physical identification, and a part of that identification is eating. You learned most of your eating habits from your tribe, from your family, from other people who are around you. Someone introduced you to all of these eating patterns that you are currently doing today. Now, some of you out there may have already done the work to peel back the layers and try to dissect how you started to eat cheese and eat bacon and have fried chicken. Maybe some of you guys did that already. I'm really talking to people who really haven't done that journey yet to pull back those layers and say, I don't know where this came from. I've just been doing this for the longest time. And guys, that's honestly a running program. So with that being said, everyone, again, we are doing more unlearning on today's episode. And I want to start with a quote today to kick off this enlightened information. The quote says, "Know thyself, know thy enemy. 1,000 battles, 1,000 victories." That is by Sun Tzu, which is the Chinese philosopher, war philosopher. And the reason why I put that in there is because when you know yourself, you know the enemy ahead, meaning you know how to attack it, you know how to become victorious over it. And which means you win 1,000 battles and you win 1,000 victories when you know the enemy. And these next couple of episodes, because there's going to be 3 of them, we're putting, like I mentioned in the beginning of this 4 minutes ago, we're putting industry and the ancestral nomad onto trial. And we're also going to break into learning thyself and re-examining what we eat, re-examine what we consume. And then, guys, I want to say this: why is it so important to re-examine this? Like I said, because a lot of the time these practices get passed down through generations, and no one questions it. No one says, "Why are we doing this? Why are we eating this? Why are we doing that? Why is this happening?" And I also want to say this to everyone to support the know thyself, know thy enemy. I want to say when you know the enemy, when the enemy isn't clear, let's just say that. When the enemy isn't clear in your vision, a sneak attack is more than likely to happen. So again, guys, like say you're an army out there, if you don't see the enemy and you're sleeping at night, boom, something just swipes in and gets you. And that's more than likely what heart failure is, cancer is, tumors, inflammations, strokes in the body. Those are all the sneak attacks that happen when you don't know what the enemy is, or you don't know what the enemy looks like. And then also, everyone, I also want to say this too: a bankrupt immune system is the defense system in the body, and when the immune system is down, let's just say that, any attack can happen, and it's just giving the disease a green light to come in and just wreak havoc on the body. And today's episode is really just trying to help people to evolve out of that by hopefully putting this onto trial to re-examine the enemy, so you know how to eat, what to eat, and how to bring your defenses back up so you don't have any sneak attacks later on in life. Yes, when you're young, things tend to just be young because the body is still uh, active and mobile, agile. It has a great immune system already. But the older we get, the more things do start to slow down. But if we never really examine how we start slowing down and start making small little patterns of eating here and there, we start making changes, then you'll never understand how to evolve your eating habits and how to evolve your body. And then also try to avoid or, you know, not have these different ailments happen the older you get, especially with those over 40. I had to re-examine everything I was doing. But let's move on. So that is that. I also want to say this to everyone. When you don't have the fuel, if you're not feeding the body the right fuel, like I said, the immune system is not going to be as strong as it is. So that's another thing I wanted to put out there to the collective today. And a few questions that I came up with about this episode is, before we start the trial questions, and the questions I came up with was, who taught you that fried chicken was good? Um, that is a huge thing, especially here in America. A lot of people eat fried chicken, and it's not the best thing for you. But that's another question I want to come up with today: was, who taught you that fried chicken was good? Who taught you that cakes, pies, brownies, sweet treats were edible? Meaning, who taught you? Who put that in your mouth for the first time, or who said this is going to taste good, and you did it, and you tried it anyway? You said, "Yeah, this is edible. I like this." Who did that for you? Where did the French fry come from in your diet? That's another thing that we got to talk about. When did industry food first come into your palate? And then also, who said bacon was good? Another meat thing, another industry thing. Who or what put that first piece of bacon in your mouth, and then now it's a part of your diet? And then also, who was the first one to give you cow milk? Again, guys, these are all things we should be tracing back to the inception to try to figure out how it came about, and not blame anyone for it. Meant to tell everyone that when you do start to remember who, what, when, where, and whys, do not try to blame anyone. Just say, it's the experience, and then you try to correct it from there. And then the last and final question that I had: who and where did this cheese on all food become an obsession for you? Meaning, if there's no cheese on your salad, there's no cheese on broccoli, there's no cheese in your burger, there's no cheese in your fries, and you're not going to eat it. And guys, it's time to re-examine how that obsession with cheese or dairy products first started. That is another running program within our habitual bodies. Is when we don't know where they came from, We just automatically do it without a question. And that is what we're doing today. And then also, everyone, put all these questions together. Where the fried chicken come from, the cakes, the sweets, the French fries, the bacon, the cow milk, the cheese. These are all learned eating habits. I'm going to say that one more time. These are all learned eating habits. And also want to say this to everyone: when we're grown adults, these ideas, these concepts around food have been so subtly incepted into our minds, and it fully grows into a concept. It is hard to battle that enemy eventually, because like I said, guys, once that idea takes root in your mind and blooms into this industrial waste, let's say tree, it's a hard enemy to try to evolve out of. That's why people have a hard time sticking to diets. That's why people have a hard time eating salads, or drinking water, or doing something that they don't remember doing. They just have done something for so long, they think that's a part of their personality. I think that's a part of their body's DNA makeup, and I'm here to tell everyone it's not. And the next couple of pages we're going to get through on how it's not in your DNA to eat all those things that we just talked about. So once again, guys, learning about the opponent is leading yourself to victory. And my goal or intention for this is to start, like I said, peeling back the onion layers of your learned eating habits, your learned eating patterns, and take a moment to observe those eating patterns. Like I said in my 2 previous episodes, do a food journal. That's the best way to start looking at it, to see where you're at, And don't lie to yourself. Don't cheat with yourself about what you eat, guys. This is, again, taking accountability for what you're putting into your body. But once you continue the lie, and once you continue the don't ask, don't tell, you're never going to fix the problem. You're never going to know the enemy, and you're never going to know thyself. So once again, guys, if you do keep a food journal out there for the first time, be honest with yourself. Do not skirt it. Do not lie. Do not try to say, I don't eat that, and then, other things are still happening. So once again, guys, be honest for once. This is the only way to beat the enemy and start achieving a victory. I think that's the first step in this victory here, is being honest with yourself and being honest about how you got to this point. Where you're listening to me in this episode. That being said, everyone, my other intention is to uninstall all of the industrial software programming currently running in your mind and currently running inside the body. What is a running program? Let's go through them. A running program is, oh, Al, well, this is how I grew up. Well, I want to say this too, to combat that. That isn't always right. I'm going to say that. The way you grew up with something doesn't make it right just because you grew up with it. It could have been your parents just didn't know any better, maybe because there's a social economic something brought them to that point, and this is how they taught you how to eat. But again, guys, this is attachment. So I wasn't going to introduce that episode, but it came out of me. That is attachment to something that's sentimental to your childhood, and a lot of people feel that if they get rid of something from their childhood is no longer significant. And I'm here to tell all of you guys, this is the part of evolving yourself and getting to knowing yourself, is to start dissecting those childhood eating patterns and where they came from, and saying that it's okay to detach from that. I detached from so much of my upbringing as a child. At 46, it's a very different pattern, or we've gone back to, I'll talk about that in a little bit before I get ahead of the show. So that's running program number 1. Running program number 2, and this is often one that gets the most resistance. This is my cultural food. Well, not really. Why do I laugh and say that? Because most of the time, guys, these cultural foods that we're eating, do derive from an indigenous part of our ancestral past, but in this modern culture of today, it is really layered and mingled in with our colonial um, captors. Let's just say that the Europeans, meaning like, I'm African American, African descent. A lot of the mammal dairy stuff that or is inlaid with inside the United States government or United States cuisine came from Europe. It came from a different place, and our my ancestors who were captured just made do what they did, and then created this whole entire cultural food that we call culture. Same thing with the Latinos. When the Europeans or the Spanish and Portuguese came, they were eating a very different diet plan. But when they showed up and, they started to, push their diets onto the indigenous people, did they start doing the same thing too, layering in these colonial ideas of what it is to eat good food? And then herein lies all these European diseases that came up out of nowhere in the Americas that weren't there before. So once again, guys, hopefully that is dispelling that this is cultural food. But when you start to break it down and look at it, it's mingled in with colonial European food standards mixed in with our own cultural food. So it's half and half, or 80%, 20%. So there's still some cultural food at the base of it, but it's laid on top of all this other European stuff. So once again, guys, try not to attach yourself to the culture. And then also, this is my socioeconomic status, meaning either you grew up without a lot, you were middle class, or you grew up super wealthy. All of that is attachment to the way you grew up. And a lot of people, again, cling and hang on to their socioeconomic status, and then just say, well, that just dictates their eating habits. And I'm here to tell you guys this too. Just because you have a certain amount of money in the bank account doesn't give you the green light to eat whatever you want or eat as your status, dictates in this society. Again, guys, this is a part of learning about your soul, learning about yourself. Your soul doesn't give a crap about socioeconomic status. It wants the healthiest vessel that it can have during its incarnation. That came out of me. I don't know where that came from, but that is initially what your soul wants to do, guys. So once again, drop all that socioeconomic stuff on how you grew up or how you evolve yourself. Let's do that, because people do, pull themselves up from, let's say, where they came from, and they move into higher parts of society, and now they want to eat the way the other half used to eat just because now they have the money to do it. But that's also creating more disease in the body when you start eating like those people. So again, guys, start detaching yourselves from these different running programs. And also, everyone, I also want to, my goal for this whole entire series is to put an end to people thinking that being a vegetarian or a vegan is an alternative choice. I'm here to tell everyone that the omnivore, which is the all meat diet, the industrial diet that we've all been taught, that is the alternative diet. Veganism, vegetarianism is the main source, is the main diet. In the next couple of sentences, I'm going to go into why I said vegetarianism, veganism is the main diet. It's the factory settings, as I called it in my show notes. Meaning the way we came out of our mothers, it was as a vegetarian, very vegan body. And then over time, like I said, the other stuff got layered into our diets, and then we called it cultural food, the way I grew up. And, socioeconomic status dictated how I eat. So again, guys, let's try to put it into vegetarianism and veganism being an alternative. Let's flip it into a main dietary staple inside the human body, and then I'm trying to let people know that the omnivore, or eating meats and other industrial dairy products, is the alternative, because we have to learn how to do that. And I want to say this to everyone. Like I said, all that dictates eating patterns, and it's attachment. Again, everything we just talked about is attachment. But once again, guys, we're putting it into vegetarianism and veganism being the alternative source, and it's the main source. And omnivore / industrial products is the alternative. What is industrial software? Well, guys, It's often glitchy, it's often sketchy. Just like airplane Wi-Fi. When the right system is not there to work, it doesn't always work well. What do I mean by industrial, glitchy, sketchy software? It's where the software has been downloaded to the mainframe or to all of us, and we start to believe and we start to scoff at fruits, vegetables, lentils, and beans as a disgusting thing. We start to be taught that it's not enough food to survive on, meaning that if we're not eating meat and other industrial products, that is the standard of how we grow and grow bigger and have these fuel bodies. But again, guys, this is just the glitchy programming that's on top of our hardware saying that this is the standard, when in actuality, what I just talked about with veggies, fruits, lentils, and beans, that is our main fuel source in the body. It's not the other way around. And we also learn with the industrial software that gets downloaded to us is that water is gross. I've met so many people, and you guys know I work as a flight attendant. We offer sometimes in our short flights water. People, I mean, we have a handful of people take water, and it's just the most interesting thing to me that when we offer water, people don't want it. But when we come through with all this, industrial chemical sodas, everybody is thirsty. So that's is where it came from. That's where that came from with, learning that water is gross. And like I said, people rather drink this industrial chemical instead of something that's going to hydrate their body. I always say this in the PA when we do have those short flights. I say, we're coming through with water, H2O, 2 hydrogen, 1 oxygen. That will hydrate your body better than any soda, Sprite, or Coke ever will. And people just giggle and laugh because it's true. But anyway, guys, that is that's the chemical breakdown of water. If you guys are wondering about that. I also want to say this to everyone. My last episode, I never got a chance to say. Start to rethink of your body and your stomach and your intestines as a big chemistry assignment, meaning all your body knows is chemistry. It doesn't know that it's bacon. It doesn't know that you're eating an apple. It doesn't know that you are having chicken. It doesn't know that you're having beef or whatever, you eat, noodles or bread, whatever. All your body does is recognize the different bonds and chemical chains attached to that food, to that item, and then it can start moving. As I say, you guys, our bodies are very smart. And then it starts recognizing the bonds and the chemicals in that item you just ingested, and then it starts doing its own work for you on your behalf while you're still moving around, doing your homework, doing whatever you do throughout the day. Again, this is where the matrix comes into view. When your body just sees the coding, that's what I'm trying to reach for. Your body just sees the coding and reacts from there. That's the true hardware of our bodies. It looks at the numbers, looks at the chemical bonds, and then it just says this goes there, that goes there. We can do that, break that down, move that into this. Our bodies are very smart. So guys, don't believe what AI and other high-tech people out here these days are saying, that our bodies are dumb or it's not a very smart animal. It really is a smart animal, only because the soul lives in it, and the body is doing to its best ability to give the soul its best physical incarnation and have a really beautiful vessel. That's what the body is really doing for you. I meant to say that. So today, let's get back to, or let's try to get damn near close to factory settings. And what is a factory setting, guys? I had to think about this too. I was thinking about this. I was just like, what is a factory setting? How can I say this and give people like a visual? And then I thought about, again, my flights. And people don't really notice it, but when I'm in the aisle serving drinks, I don't like to keep my mind on serving drinks. It's very mundane. So I have so many different other things going on in my mind as I'm moving my arms and giving people their drinks. And when I'm at work, I notice what mothers feed their children. Most mothers are feeding their children, their breast milk, if they do have it, or some other form of a milk. They give their kids like fruits and vegetables that are mashed up or crushed or blended. And when I was thinking about that, I was just like, that's it. when we come out of our mothers, we are basically vegetarians and vegans. I'm gonna say that one more time, everyone. When we are born as babies or as infants, when we first are fed something, it's normally a blended crushed up fruit, puree, or some other vegetable that we can eat because our little bodies are, our esophaguses are not that evolved yet. So it's more beneficial for the baby to have that nutrition coming in liquid form, which is, like I said, a very vegetarian, very vegan diet. I've never seen a mother give their baby cheese. I've never seen a mom give their baby a piece of meat. Well, not while we're flying, but what I'm trying to say with that analogy, guys, is we're vegetarians and vegans when we first come out, meaning that is the baseline hardware of where the body is and where it is during our whole entire incarnation. Even as we get older, it's still a vegetarian vegan body. And yeah, as we get older, as our esophagus gets bigger, then our parents or whoever is taking care of us starts introducing, the meats, the cheeses, the potatoes, the fries, the breads, the sugar treats. And I want to tell everyone this too, guys. The stuff that I just mentioned is not in your factory settings. The body tolerates it. I'm gonna say that one more time, guys. The body tolerates everything I just talked about: meats, the butters, the cheeses, potatoes, fries, breads, sugary treats, sugary drinks. The body just tolerates it, and it tolerates it as inflammation, and it tolerates it as diarrhea. It can tolerate it as IBS, or what else does it tolerate? Other things seem to pop up in the body. Rashes start to pop up when the body is just in tolerating what you're giving it. And again, guys, that's not the factory settings. The factory setting is vegetarian, vegan equipment, hardware. That's our DNA. I'm going to say that one more time, guys. Vegetarian veganism is the equipment hardware hardwired inside our DNA. That is what our cells know. That is how our creator made this vessel. And I'm going to prove why I just said that. I feel like a lawyer today. I got arguments and rebuttals. This is crazy. So just to prove this, fasting, like in my last episode that I talked about, or sharing my journey, my 3-day journey with all of you, fasting is the best tool to reset the vessel's hardware to its original design by our creator. Who was our creator? God, Allah, Brahma, whatever else name that we give the creator. It's all the same energy. It doesn't matter what we call the creator. But what we do know is the fasting can give the body a chance to reset itself, like a hard reset, like pressing the button to say, reset, take me back to my original design. And that's what I did when I did my 72-hour fast. And I might as well give you guys an update now. When I was coming off of my fast, I didn't give my body, any of the hard meats and stuff like that. It was very much a vegetarian and vegan way to come off of it. I had the broth, and then I had fruit that day. I had oatmeal eventually after everything went down. So that's the idea where I came from. With my own experiences, when you come off of a fast, I'm going to tell you guys that. Introduce the body the same way that you came out your mother. Start with something liquid. Maybe go into a blended smoothie at home. Do not get that stuff from the store. Blend something at home, and just start with the purees and or easy oatmeal, or something very easy for the body to digest when you come off of a fast. So that's another little hot tip about how to come off a fast, guys. Give your body at least 24 hours to start digesting real food again. And then even in the days after your fast, give it vegan beans if you want to do that. Start with black beans or kidney beans. Maybe salads the third day, but you still want to keep things pretty liquidy, or something really mushy the body can't absorb. pretty well. And then maybe by the third or fourth day, start bringing back some stuff. But I'm going to say this to everyone. Do not bring back all that other stuff we just talked about. The fatty oils, vegetable oils, canola oils, that are very fatty. Do not bring those back. Try not to bring back beef. That's another thing that's really not in our DNA. The body doesn't recognize it that well, it just tolerates it. What else shouldn't bring back? Any fatty skin from like chicken. Try not to bring that back into the body after a fast. You're just going to throw the body off and it's going to get upset, not going to like it. So once again, guys, just do the best you can to try not to introduce those things back into your diet, because like I said, a fasting is a reset. It resets the body. And like I said, this is a spiritual podcast. We got to talk about some spiritual things every now and then. So why did I say returning the vessel back to the original design of the creator? And this is at a glance on why I put that into this episode. Let's talk about it. If you guys are have your Bibles close by, I might as well pull it out. Give you guys a second to do it. If they're not, you can just look it up online. That's always a great thing to do. Let's start at the beginning of creation. Genesis chapter 1, verse 29. And that verse is God speaking about his creation. God says, "Behold, I have given you every plant yielding seed that is on the face of the earth, and every tree with seed in its fruit. You shall have them for food." I'm going to say that one more time, guys, because I've forgotten about this, was even mentioned at all. It says, "Behold." So God is speaking to, I think it was Moses, or maybe he was speaking to someone else. We're not entirely sure who God was speaking to, but God was speaking. Speaking to man. Forgot. He's speaking to man. He says, "Behold, I have given you every plant yielding seed that is on the face of the earth, and every tree with the seed in its fruit. You shall have them for food." So that is the reason why I brought that spirituality into this whole entire episode. It's one thing just to focus in on the physical part and say, well, we should start eating healthy. But now that Genesis verse is point blank telling man, that's men and women, that God gave us every tree, every plant on this face of the planet for food. He didn't mention anything about an animal, a cow, a pig, a chicken, whatever, fish. He didn't say that. He said seed in tree form or plant form, that is the food, which means, guys, again, we were intended to be vegetarians, vegans. We were never meant to eat meat. And also want to say this too, for all the especially for the religious Christians out there. And I'm not harping on Christianity, guys. I still believe in it myself. But I'm just highlighting or arguing what we're talking about here. So that means all denominations, because Christianity is a very big thing. Everything from Catholicism down to, Pentecostals, and who else is down there? And everything else in between. So in Christianity, we're all taught that our body is the temple, meaning that we must respect it, right? And to bring this into physical form, in Christianity, either it's going to be a temple, church, or a cathedral. We're taught that we must walk into that space wearing our best, right? Worshiping at our best. We wear the best shoes that we have, the best clothes that we have, the best jewelry that we have. And with that being said, guys, if we can respect that physical building, why can't we respect the flesh and blood temple that God gifted to you during this incarnation? Yeah, guys, that's a big question to understand. You just can't think of a temple as a physical thing. This is another physical temple. And I want to say this to everyone: why are you treating the vessel? Why aren't you treating your vessel in that same regard? Why aren't you giving the vessel the best quality food you can find? Why aren't you giving the best gifts to the body? Meaning, you're giving it low quality foods, you're giving it industrial waste, and you're not giving it the fuel that it needs, that it was, again, created as. And that's what I want to try to talk to people about today, is like this. Everything we just talked about is more spiritual than what people teach it as. This is just not getting healthy, guys, and losing weight and, new year, new me. That's part of it. But what I just been talking about for the last 35 minutes is the main dish, the main course of what we're talking about here is we are meant to be vegetarians and vegans. And again, guys, you must treat the vessel as your own temple, and start bringing in the best quality of gifts. Start bringing in the best quality of foods and fuel to help run the temple. Let's just say that. And yes, that is what I wanted to say, guys, about that. So for all the religious people out there, guys, if you're currently giving your body all this industrial waste, it's time to start rethinking things, because you're violating everything that your creator just gave you when you're not giving it its full fuel that was incepted and created by the creator himself or herself, themselves. Because God is everything. Feminine, masculine, it's all the same energy. I've talked enough. That's 36 minutes on the clock. I think, well, yeah, that's it. That is it for now. So, summing up, everyone, that's the introduction of this trial. We talked about know thyself, know thy enemy. When you do know yourself, when you do know the enemy, do you start winning 1,000 battles and having 1,000 victories? And like I said, guys, we're putting industry and our ancestry, nomadicism, onto trial. I mean, I'm going to pick apart both sides, and we're going to discuss what that looks like. We're also going to re-examine what we're doing, what we're eating, why we're eating it, where did this come from? And like I said, guys, the questions start with, who taught you how to eat this meat? Who taught you how to eat sweet treats? Who taught you how to eat breads? Who first introduced to you butter? Where did French fries come from? Fast food stuff. Where did bacon come from? Where did this cheese obsession come from? And like I said, guys, when you know where the idea was incepted, can you start to have a battle plan to defeat the enemy, which is this industrial society that we live in? We can start defeating that monster and stop feeding it. Because every time you guys purchase things from these greasy spoons and drive-thrus and other chicken shacks out here, you're just feeding the industrial monster. Let's just say that. And you're also still feeding all those other things that are hiding out in your body. That's the silent enemy, which is high blood pressure, strokes, tumors, heart failures, inflammations. Those are all the silent diseases that are within inside the body. And when we feed it the right thing, does it start to grow? That came out of me too. That was not in these show notes. And like I said, guys, my intention is to peel back the layers, help you guys to observe yourselves, uninstall the industrial software programs, meaning you must re-examine, this is just how I grew up. Like that's correct. You got to depart from, this is just my culture of food. And you got to depart from, my socioeconomic status dictates how I eat. And again, guys, I really want to put out there that vegetarian, veganism is the hardware, is how our body can be successful. Omnivorism, the industrial waste and products, that's the learned behavior. That's the alternative choice that we make. Yeah, what else do I want to say about that? Babies come out, all of us, we were babies at one point. We all come out vegetarian vegans. And then, like I said, over time, we just learn how to eat all those things we just talked about. And yeah, vegetarian veganism is our DNA hardware. A fast can reset you back to your original design. And like I said before, guys, Emulate what your mom did to you a long time ago. Start introducing crushed foods, puree food, blended food into after a long fast, and that will get your body back on track, and that's going to really clear it out. I also want to say this to you guys, that Bible verse one more time. Genesis 1, chapter 1, verse 29. Behold, I've given you every plant yielding its seed that is on the face of this earth, every tree with its seed in its fruit. You shall have them for food. I'm going to leave it right there. That is some food for thought for next couple of days. I'll come back with more to say, because like I said, guys, there is more things I would like to talk about. And you guys don't like 3-hour episodes, so we're not going to make it 3 hours. We're at 40 minutes. Once again, guys, thanks always for paying attention to what I like to share with people. And I really hope that everyone does start thinking about how everything was downloaded to you, how your eating patterns are not of you. Like I said, for those of you who have done the work, congratulations. You peeled back the layers and you started a new eating habits for yourself. But those of you who haven't done that, self-reflection, this is still a great time, everyone, to understand your body, to understand what it's doing for you every single day. So that's what I want to say. That's it for now. I think I'll have 2 more episodes left, but this will probably come out very soon. So once again, guys, thank you for paying attention. Some food for thought. See you on the next round. And if you like, subscribe, tell other people about the channel. And if you, again, are curious about health as wealth, check out my previous 2 episodes, and I'll give you some more clarity on this one. We're kind of building the evidence. Let's do that. We're building the evidence, and we're building the case. That's what I'm trying to say. We're building the case. So thanks again, everyone. If I don't see everyone over the weekend, have a great weekend, and stay tuned. See you next time.